Good day, everyone. I'm Nick Glass and really honored to be with you today to talk about Book Connections, a resource that's provided to you from the Inspire collection. I'm joined with my colleague, Alyssa. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Alyssa. I'm here at TeachingBooks and love training people and talking about what we do and book connections.
Exactly. So what we're going to do is go through and try to show you about how Book Connections works. It's the public library interface for TeachingBooks, and we will walk you through that. If you are sticking around after this session, will be another session at the top of the next hour, talking about diversity and inclusion with our collection. So we'll do going into a deep dive there. But for this, we wanted to make sure you all knew about this new database that's been added to Inspire recently that's called Book Connections. So that's what we're going to cover today. Alyssa is covering the chat and will chime in as she sees fit. We want to make sure that you walk out of here really feeling comfortable and aware of what this resource is and how you can use it. So I'm going to flip over to some slides and share my screen. Feel free to chime in, and Alyssa, feel free to just interrupt at any point and ask any questions or ask for clarifications or anything. I'm not going to be looking at the chat, so just want to let you all know. So you should see my screen here with a slide that says welcome. There is a link on it, bookconnections.org/inspire. You can go directly to that. Or if you're on the Inspire page, you can do a number of things. You can go to databases A to Z, and you can just go to B for Book Connections, and you'll see it there. It's all over the Inspire page. It's also actually on the home page of Inspire also. And so you can scroll down a little bit here, and it's featured right at the footer, where you can go directly into Book Connections or TeachingBooks. And you'll see, maybe you'll see from the relationship of the image that they are related. They do have the same content, but with a different purpose. And that's what we're going to cover today is what is Book Connections and how can it enrich your relationship and all of your patrons' relationships to children's and young adult books. So again, our contact information is there. We'll provide this to you at the end as well. If you ever have questions, you can reach us on Twitter or email or just on the site or phone or all those good things. So Book Connections came about because, well, to be honest, because you all had teaching books, and in public library settings, I don't know too many people that go into a public library and say, I want to focus on teaching. I'm a student and I just want to enjoy books. They're not saying I want to be doing teaching stuff. But that said, the same content that is in teaching books is within Book Connections. But what we have here is instead a way to focus in on the parts and pieces that we think are done in public libraries, children's and teen services. So homework help, homeschool support, readers advisory, library programming, book promotion, collection analysis, summer reading, just your own professional development, and of course for the patrons themselves, games and complete book readings and video book trailers and all kinds of fabulous connections to books. TeachingBooks and Book Connections came about with the goal of saying, can we change everyone's relationship to the book they're using? Can we actually help everyone feel connected to that? So when you go to Book Connections, you can go there just by going to bookconnections.org, and you can sign in at bookconnections.org/inspire, or you can go at it through Inspire. And you'll notice that when you go to bookconnections.org, anywhere in the state of Indiana, it will say welcome Indiana resident. There's not even sign in required per se for all your patrons. We have sign in set up to make it easy so you can track your statistics for your library. But as a backup, we've tried to ensure that everybody can immediately get in on their phone, on any device. So access should be really clear and easy for everybody, because Inspire and the Indiana State Library are providing this resource equally for absolutely everybody in the state. It's in your public libraries, it's in your schools, it's for homeschool, it's for use in the home, for anywhere. So we've made authentication as easy as we can as well. So you go to bookconnections.org and you can go into that, and you'll see at the top of the screen, it says for fun, for readers, for professionals or browse. So I'm just going to click browse, and it's going to take you to that slide that I showed you a second ago that lets you kind of think, well, what do I want to do here? What am I after? I'm maybe thinking about library programming. So I can go to library programming, and then it's going to give me lots of options for how I want to go about my work thinking about library programming. What it's always going to do, and what TeachingBooks and Book Connections always do, is try to deepen and enrich every single reader's connection to whatever book they're reading. TeachingBooks started around 21 years ago when I was doing my graduate work in educational policy and history of multicultural education. And I started seeing the power of meeting an author. And if any of you have ever seen an author, you can probably feel what that's like. That can be pretty powerful and meaningful and change the way you relate to that book. So Book Connections is a tool that's trying to change everybody's relationship to that book. So if you're doing library programming, you're saying, let's do story time. So I can go to story time and open that up, and I can think, what do I want to do in story time? Do I want book readings? Do I want story time activity kits? Let's do readers theater. Maybe we're virtual and we want something that will work well, be interactive, that's virtual. So then I can go to that and I can hit continue. And now I'm going to get a whole bunch of titles that have readers theater scripts ready for us to use. And we're going to be able to use them right here on the screen. So if you're virtual or you're in person, you're going to actually have the script and everybody can have a part and they can participate and get connected to this book in a way that only technology enables, right? So here we now see these 444 titles. I can even filter, so I can go to the left side of my screen and there's filtering there because everything is about, it's this whole library, but we got to get it down to your particular needs. So do you want to go into the early childhood section? Do you want to go into the teen section? Where do you want to be? So I'll just take middle grade or upper elementary is what I picked actually, so it doesn't matter. And I can say, oh, I love the one and only Ivan. Let's do a reader's theater script on that. Or I can say, oh, actually, Henry's Freedom Box, that sounds fabulous too. Let's do that one. Doesn't matter. So you can pick any of these. And then it's going to take you to a place where you will then find a reader's theater script ready for you to use. So here it says reader's theater script. So I can click on that and it's going to take me right to that particular reader's theater script. You can print it. You have all the rights to print and use these materials as you wish. Let me make that a little larger so you can see. And we all can have different roles. Narrator 1 be me, Alyssa will be narrator 2, someone else will be narrator 3, and so forth. But the point is now you can actually you can relate to this book and connect to this book in those ways. When you go back to this particular title, though, you also can see there's other tools, other resources that TeachingBooks has for your library programming. I can say, let's listen to a little bit of the book, or let's watch a video book reading of it. So I can click that, and now I'm going to have a performance of the book being read a little bit.
The sun was not yet up when Henry climbed into the box. Ready, he said. James nailed down the lid. Dr. Smith and James drove to the station. The railway clerk tipped the box over and nailed a paper to the bottom. Dr. Smith begged the clerks to be careful, but they didn't listen.
So you have a little performance of it with video. You have a read along. You get other kinds of questions and activities. So this is a resource that's going to bring to life those books, but you get to decide what it is you're looking for. So when you go browse book connections, you can say, what task are you thinking about right now? Oh, I'm thinking about my library programming. I'm thinking about a STEAM program we're going to do. Great, then you can go in and you can think about STEAM and you can say we're just focused right now on teen STEAM books. So now you're gonna have all these STEAM books that are relevant for teens and resources to bring those to life. So Book Connections is a library of resources that's going to change the way you, your patrons, your families, and everybody will relate to and connect to those very books. So before I go on, I'm going to pause and see how we're doing. I don't want to lose anyone at this foundational level. I'm going to bring up the chat here also, and I'm just looking on a separate monitor here to see how that is. Any questions, any concerns? How are we doing so far? Making sense? Okay. Assuming you're all there. So fantastic, thank you. So again, Book Connections is a library that's trying to bring to life whatever you're already doing. So now I can scroll a little bit down and I can even just see right away that there's 263,000 resources for children's and young adult books. Now you get to decide, are you want to explore the children and teen section or for the adults and professionals? So I can jump in, I can say, I'm a student, I just really enjoy sitting around and watching book trailers. Great. So I can go in and go to the for fun section here for video book trailers. And I can either type in a particular title or I can say, just show me all the children's books that have that, all the ones that have book trailers. So now I have 4,457 children's books that have book trailers. I can hone in a little more. So let's talk about the leveling on the left, the filtering. So you get to decide, and we treat 4 things equally at Book Connections and Teaching Books: grade level, curricular area, genre, and cultural experience. So I could say right now, what I'm looking for is I want more books that are about the Asian American experience, and I want ones that are perfect for my grade level, or I can say whatever. Actually, I found what I was hoping for was something like I love Front Desk. Great book. So I can go to Front Desk, and now I'm going to have a video book trailer. And when I click on that, it's going to now play that video book trailer for me to be able to introduce people to that text.
Hi, I'm Kelly Yang, and I'm the author of Front Desk. When I was little, I grew up in a motel. Every day, I managed the front desk while my parents cleaned the rooms. It was something nobody at school knew about me. I'd been thinking about a way to tell my son about my childhood, so I wrote Front Desk. Front Desk is the story of 10-year-old Mia Tang. Every day, she manages the front desk of the Cala Vista Motel while her parents clean.
So forth. So then you have these connections. You want other things for that? Sure. You want to look under the different activity guides. You want to look at different kinds of lesson plans. Fabulous. You want to hear the author, why she wrote the book. Well, you have that book trailer. You also have, or you just want to hear what the book sounds like and maybe just provide an excerpt for everyone to read along and enjoy.
My parents told me that America would be this amazing place where we could live in a house with a dog, do whatever we want, and eat hamburgers till we were red in the face. So far, the only part of that we've achieved is the hamburger part, but I was still holding out hope. And the hamburgers here are pretty good.
So you have all these different types of resources to bring to life whatever one is looking for. You can search for a specific title. So I can just go through here. I can look up an author. I can say, goodness, my kids just can't get enough of John Green books. So I'll go to John Green. And then I'm going to have all the materials about him and his books. We have the recordings with him. We've called him up and he's introducing pretty much every one of his books. So you were curious why he wrote, Looking for Alaska or Paper Towns. I can click on that. And you have not just the lesson plans and the video book trailers, but you also have here what we call a Meet the Author recording. So we create these almost every day. We're interviewing an author so that they can be there for you, telling the backstory about why they wrote those books.
Hi there, I'm John Green, the author of the novel Paper Towns. Paper Towns is a book about a girl named Margot Roth Spiegelman and her next-door neighbor, Quentin. Margot is a girl who's been consistently misimagined by everyone around her pretty much for her entire life. She is hugely popular and larger than life in the school that she attends, but no one really gets her.
So then you get all those different materials. If you wanted to even see a little bit of the book, you'll see here that TeachingBooks has little previews from Google. In this case, you've got 36 pages of the book for unlimited simultaneous use. So anybody can now just begin to take a look and read a little bit of the book. So it's all trying to deepen and enrich your relationship to it. We have different kinds of games. So let's say you wanted for your programming, you knew you were doing a book club around Paper Towns, you wanted to give everybody a word search. So I can go through here and I can build this word search and I can say that we want to have some words that are relevant for this text. You can type in your own too. So I can say I don't need day, but really what I want to have is school. So I can type in any word I want and then I can say which direction and how we want this word search to work. I hit create the word search, and now automatically I have that word search ready to go. You have the words, you have the grid, you can even have the solutions, and you can print it, and it will give you both the different sides of the page, so you can hand it out and people can have both and so forth. So everything we're trying to do is deepen and enrich your relationship to whatever books you're using. So again, what you can do here is you can go and you can click on browse. You can start to look and say, I'm doing library programming, or maybe you're thinking about your homeschoolers coming in. How do you support the homeschoolers? There's more and more and more of them, at least in my state of California. I'd assume that's true everywhere in the country these days, as school is getting, it's just undergoing some challenges like the rest of us, I guess. And so you can then go through homeschool support, and I'm a parent and I want to provide really good books, but I don't know the books. I'm not a professional book. Let's pretend I'm not a professional book person. So I can say I'm looking for a book on a topic. So I could say I just want it to be, you know, I know they're reading a certain book, or I want vocabulary lists. So I want to see, I really want to find all books that have different types of materials here. So I can say which ones have, you know, book trailers to help, or I'm just looking for discussion questions. So I can go to that, or I can find books and search by things that say, well, we're studying biography, and I want them to also be thinking about the biography of Middle Eastern culture, and I want that to be for elementary school. What books do you have, and what resources are there to support that? So here are those 23 books that meet that criteria. And then for each of these we're back to the same thing that we were getting at before, resources that change the way you relate to that book. You have descriptions of the text, so you want to learn more about it. Absolutely. Here you have some fabulous descriptions. You have interviews, lesson plans. You can learn about what awards and distinctions this won. You've got different games in the preview and so much more. So again, I'm going to pause and just check in, because this is kind of sequential and I don't want to lose anyone. I really want you to be able to walk out of here seeing how this resource that the State Library of Indiana provides for all of you can support the work that you are doing with children's and young adult books. So questions, comments, anyone's welcome to open their mic and ask a question, or you can chat, or Alyssa, chime in with anything you wish. Well, information overload. Yes, this is a library that we've been working on for 21 years that has all the resources trying to change the way you relate to whatever book and author. It can be as simple as someone coming in and just saying, I'm using a different pond, right? So that's the book I have in my hand. I'd like some resources for that, please. Fabulous. Right? We have the author, the illustrator, the lessons, the discussion guides, the games, all this kind of stuff. But we want to make sure that you can have all these different materials. Yes, someone was about to say something, please.
Nick, I just wanted to pause and just point out that you do have access to video tutorials. So if you want kind of little reminders down the road, you know, today you walk away just really excited to explore it, that's awesome. But then down the road, want to come back and see what more depth you might find. Exploring in our training section is a good place to look.
And we'll cover more of this for you at the end and show you all of this as well. But yes, we are here. We also have a phone number to call, and we are accountable to make this as successful for you as possible. So we want to make sure that you have all of those different components. But right now, what I wanted you to see is that we're here to support and make sure and enrich that, absolutely. But we also want, before we get to all of the support materials, I want to make sure you still understood all the depths of ways you can use this. How quickly will there be information about new releases, someone asked? That's a great question. It's pretty quick. We add resources every day. If there's a particular title, type it in. But what you can do is go to the footer of the page and the home page, and it tells you that in the past 30 days, we've added 2,600 resources. And if you want to see all the 2021 books that have been added, you can click there. And then you'll see here that so far this year, we have 2,263 titles that are 2021. And so it's pretty up to date. Similarly, as awards are announced, and I'll get to our awards collection at some point, but let's just take Unspeakable. This book has just been recognized in the past few weeks by a number of major book awards. And so here, it's already been acknowledged as an honor of the Horn Book, as a National Book Award finalist as well on the long list. It's not a finalist yet. So that just came out, I think, yesterday or two days ago or something like that. So we are doing our best to stay on top of what's happening. And also for this book, we've also already interviewed the author. Sadly, the illustrator, Floyd Cooper, has passed. And when we reached out to him, we didn't know that he had cancer at the time, but that now explains why he wasn't available for that particular recording. But Carol Weatherford Boston is here talking. Carol Boston Weatherford, excuse me, is here talking about why she wrote it and so forth. And then we have all the other materials. So we're pretty up to date to the best of our abilities. And again, going back to Alyssa's point that you're always welcome to send us a note and to contact us. And we will always, you can say, here's a title we should include, here's a link we should add. We love learning with you to make sure we're supporting what matters to you. Great. I'm going to go on and show you then. So if you see that this is a library of resources about children's and young adult books, I want to give you some examples of how maybe you could use this. So someone comes into your library and they're looking for support. Maybe they're a homeschool family, or they're trying to do, let's just do that. So they're a homeschool family and you're trying to help them identify books. So you can do this search and you can say, let's build you a list of resources. Your kid loves graphic books, but you're focused on nonfiction. And so we want graphic nonfiction titles. And so we have graphic nonfiction and we want it to be for 4th to 8th. And that family is African-American and they'd like to see some books that have to do with that. What do you have? So here, whoops, I don't know what I clicked there. Must have done lists or something. Oh, because I'm on book lists. That's why I was in the wrong place. So I can find books. Here we go. So then I can go through and find those titles, and I can go through and say I want that. And now I'm going to get those graphic titles. And so now I have 33 titles that are graphic novels, African American for middle grade. And so I can take this. And then I can even say, I want to now pick, let's say I just wanted one book and I wanted to give these resources to a patron. So you want to make sure your patron has this material. So you could either do this at a single resource or at the at a full title. I'm just going to show you how to use it. There's always a share bar. Do you see this sharing here? It says share. So now I want to give that directly to that family. And so I can, how do I want to do that? Do I want to text it to them, email it to them, give them a bookmark? What would be the most efficient way? So I'm just going to send them print them a bookmark to take home on this particular material. So right now, for example, if you have a phone, just scan that. I'll wait. And you can scan that and it will take you right to New Kid. And no one has to browse or know what Book Connections is or go in through Inspire. It's automatically authenticated because it's part of your state license. So you have here a way to immediately give resources to anybody. So if someone comes in and you help them with this, you can share it like that to them. You also could give them that list, or they could learn to do this themselves, but I'm just showing you, as you could say, you want that list of these titles. So I can add multiple titles here and I can just I'll just take them all, be easier. And so now I have all of the ones that we had here. I hit add to a list. I'm now going to name that list Nick's middle grade graphic African American titles with resources. Now I have that list. Now I have one link with 285 resources, 24 lesson plans, 35 videos for these 33 books, all ready to go. So now what I can do is I can just immediately give them that. And again, every single page has share. So when you go to share, I can now, boom, give it right to them. How would you like that? Would you like me to email that to you? Would you like me to text that to you? Would you like that in a flyer, a bookmark? What can I do for you? So I can give them the bookmark. And then they could even say, wait, my family that I'm giving this to only speaks Tagalog. They're from the Philippines. Can you help them have more understanding of that? And the answer is, of course. We translate all of our materials in our website into 109 different languages. So here it would be in Tagalog, and now they can distribute this bookmark into that. And so now you're going to have that in their language and so forth. So this is all trying to say that we want to make sure that anybody comes into your library looking for resources about books, we want to help them take a deep dive into those texts. And we want to make it as seamless and easy as possible. So someone said they're putting together a collection for daycare. So I can go back to the home page here, and I can go browse, and I can say I wanted to find resources for a certain age or something like that. So I can go in here and I can say, we want, I'll just do it another way too, but you can do it in many ways. I'll do it from professional exploration, I guess that would work. So then I can say here, what do I have here? I want to find titles that are for a certain grade. So I can click on anything, genres, and I want these to be specifically biographies. So then I can go there, and I'm going to have here, pick my preschool. And now I have 982, and I only want ones that have won awards. So I can pick whichever award I want, or any culture. So I'm just going to say I want award-winning ones. That's down to 422. And then I can say I love using video book trailers. So now I'm going to go down to the resources, and I'm going to pick ones here that have book trailers. So now we're down to 69. So these 69 titles are preschool books that have won awards that have book trailers. And then I can make my list. Remember this? I can select all titles. I can save that. Whoops, I don't know what I just hit. Sorry. I don't know. Actually, I have no idea what I just hit. So I will do that again. I will hit add multiple titles, select all titles. I now go add those to a list, create a list, preschool, biographies, award-winning biographies, with book trailers. And now I have that material to save and use whenever I want. And I can view that, I can share it, I can save it, and so forth. So again, all these resources can be aggregated to meet whatever it is you're looking for. Questions, comments?
Nick, we have a question on here. Can you use this for adult books too? So
this is a library that is designed about children's and teen books, but certainly there are a lot of adult books that cross over into schools, but our intention is to support the pre-K through 12 environment. So if I was looking for a book, you know, the National Book Award winning book by Ta-Nehisi Coates, absolutely, we would have all of these. And you could say that some of these are adult texts. This was not written, although it is a story about a young boy in a relationship with that, not a young boy, a teenager with his father. Yeah, there's resources, of course, for this, because this would be a relevant book to use in schools and so forth. But if I just looked up a new Stephen King title, or I don't know what, probably not in here. So our focus is on pre-K through 12. So I hope that answered that. I see someone asked about the Indiana reading lists. And so I wanted to show you that. Someone asked about Young Hoosiers. I just hit the wrong button. So I'm typing in Indiana, you could type in Hoosiers, but I wanted you to see that we have already aligned our resources to reading lists that maybe matter to you. Maybe you're working on promoting the Firefly. Maybe you're working on wanting to support the Hoosier or the paintbrush. So you have all of those materials here already aligned and ready for you. So I can click on the Young Hoosier 6 to 8, for example. And here you have all 20 titles. For those 20 titles, you have 357 resources, 27 lesson plans. We've already interviewed many of these authors, so they can be here for you. There's resources about them, and it's all set. And again, scaffolding on what we already talked about. You take this, you find this, then you share it. If you wanted, though, to promote this in your library, there are a few other things you can do too. You can hit embed. So maybe you have control over your website and you would like this page of resources for your Young Hoosier Award to just be sitting on your web page. Why should you have to go and copy and paste every image and title and not even have all the resources, let alone the live space? So all you need to do is just take this little bit of code that we've given you, and you can embed that directly onto your own web page. So that's a super powerful way to now have all of book connections sitting on your page ready for you. So again, you can take any list, either the one that you've created, and I'll go back and show you one that I created. The way you find those is underneath your name. When you've created an account to be able to make lists, it says welcome in your first name. Again, my name is Nick, so it says welcome Nick. Under that, there's a little 3 bars. I call that a hamburger menu. I have no idea what it's formally called. And I go to your reading lists. Under your reading lists are the lists that I've made. There are also the Indiana lists. And so I can go down to that, and I can go here, and I can also see the ones that we've already made. So now I want this middle grade African-American titles with resources collection, this graphic book collection. I want to copy and paste that. And you can then hit embed, and I would be able to embed that. I could share it. You see all the options here. Or I just want the ISBNs. Okay. Or maybe you're just kind of wondering about this list and just feel like playing concentration. So I can just now sit here and I can just play concentration until I find a match. Hey, I found one. So now I have that, but I can just do that as well. So there's all kinds of things that I can do.
Nick, I was going to say with concentration, that's a fun one. If you're highlighting a certain award, to place a link to that on some of your computer's home pages. So if you've got students popping into the library and just kind of looking for things to do, that's a great way to feature those titles.
That's great. So let me just show everyone what Alyssa just suggested. So I could go here to, let's say the, first I need my mouse, here we go. So I can go to all the Indiana reading lists. And I can say, which one do I feel like? How about the Rosewater? So I can take that and I want to just embed, play that, have that game of concentration sitting there. So when I go to concentration for this particular list, again, I tried to say every page has share. So I can go click share and it would have the link now for you to be able to play this concentration game on your websites. You also could give everyone a bookmark to it or whatever you wanted or text it. But once you've embedded that, then now here I have the Rosewater titles in this game that will now take me an hour to that was someplace. Damn it. There, no, that wasn't it. Anyhow, you can figure out. There we go. I got one. I'm going to have one. There we go. So then it matches and you move on. But the game also has other functions to it. So I can also play, and I can say I actually want to play the game where I'm matching book cover and authors. Want to be really, how smart are you? That's really hard. I can do it with as many as from one set. So I'll demonstrate that because I think I can do it if there's only one set. So then it's just randomly going to pick that. I'm going to say I really love middle grade biographies. So now show me a set for middle grade biography, and I'm going to get this. I know I will. There's the title, and there's the author. I matched it. But you can do that as a demo, or you can, again, we're trying to reach everybody. Every single person needs to be included. This is not about one person's skills. This is about how do we enrich your relationship with the books that matter to you. Make sense? So again, go to Book Connections, and you can search by, you just begin to browse through these different functions. I can go through readers and I can say, I'm looking for homework help. I come to my library, I want help on my homework. Great, how can we help? What do you need? You're looking for vocabulary lists? Great, what have you been assigned? Oh, I've been assigned Great Gatsby. Okay, so then I click on Great Gatsby, and now it's going to take me to the vocabulary list for Great Gatsby. And when I click on that, it's not just any vocabulary list, because everything we're doing is trying to use technology to enrich and deepen your way of thinking about it. I'm not just giving you a list of 10 words. That anybody can do. But what we're doing is we're tying it into context. Vocabulary, in my mind, should be taught in context. And so here you have the word, the definition, and the sentences which is used within the Great Gatsby. And then if you want more information, you can click on that, and then you're actually on now a live dictionary, vocabulary.com, where you can learn more. All this is all part and parcel of the Inspire provided book connections, teaching books, resources for you. So there's so much. I know it's probably overload. I understand that. That's why there's nothing better than just simply going through and exploring what is it that you're thinking about? What are those things that you're trying to do? You're thinking about summer reading? Great. I know right now this might be the 1 month or two when maybe you're not thinking about summer reading, because you're probably getting ready to think about next year's program and so forth. And I don't recall whether Indiana is a CSLP state or an iRead, but we tie to actually a number of programs. We tie to the CSLP, the iRead, the Sora Suite Reads, and then there's also a program put together by a cooperative called We Are Kid Lit, and that's going to focus on Indigenous and people of color titles. So you could then have those, and you'd be able to have those resources all in one place. So whatever bibliography you're looking at, could be CSLP, or you're just looking for more diverse texts that are tied to this, then all of those are already here for you. So again, you can just go back to professionals, summer reading. You can pick what you're after. You can say, oh, we're doing Tales and Tales. We don't have next year's in yet, by the way, but we will be getting them. And then you can say, here, I'm focused on our children. We have the bibliographies from the CSLP Tales and Tales program. Here's the 364 titles. And then again, you use your filtering. You say, I'm really just after, what am I after? I'm really just after read-along audiobook performances. So these 98 titles have that. And then I want them also just for the ones that are about, I don't know, about the Latino community. So now I narrowed it down to these, and then I can click one, and I have all of this materials. So there you have it. So you have all of the materials about what you're reading. And again, we've called up the author. There's book trailers. There's how to say their names. Let's learn about how to say this person's name.
Hello, my name is Raul Gonzalez III, aka Raul III. My name is sometimes difficult for some people to pronounce because it means that you have to roll your R's, and that's done by rolling your tongue towards the front of your mouth like this. If you can't do it, though, don't feel so bad. I'm bilingual, so I speak both Spanish and English. I really love listening to all kinds of different pronunciations for my names. I was just in...
So forth. And again, for any time there's text on our site, you can translate it. So if you wanted to share this with a family that only spoke Spanish or only spoke Korean or what have you, I can pick the language and it's then going to change it. And then while he's talking and reading or whatever is happening, you'll be following along in their language. So you can honor people in your community by knowing you have one person coming to your story time that only speaks Korean, and you're playing a resource. You can actually just have the captions there in Korean, so that the family or parents, kids, or anybody can feel more connected.
Chicago, and I had many people calling me Rayul. I thought that was pretty cool. Raul works just fine.
So you can see how that all works. So again,
can
please.
I just offer an idea real quick?
I love it.
Will you click on the share button?
Yeah.
And then click on Shelf Talker.
Ooh, excellent idea. We're moving now into book promotion. Fabulous. So Alyssa is wanting to make sure you know how to integrate these resources throughout your library, and I'll let her take us there.
And I just wanted us to call on these really quickly, because I think some of the best parts of having authors being able to speak to us through this site is that you can actually have them speak to you right in front of their books. So you can take these shelf talkers and put them all over the library, and then your patrons are wandering around and saying, oh, well, I do want to, like, what is this? I'm curious. And they get to learn more. Or you can take it even a step further and make little scavenger hunts. And so can you find the author who, and then insert fun fact here. So there's a lot of creative ways that you can do this, but it's such a good way to just really bring your authors and put them right into your libraries.
And you'll see these are designed to literally print as a shelf talking card. And so it's got the little line and the folding and all that, and you can translate it and then print it. And anybody can walk around, as Alyssa said, and use that. Every resource that on TeachingBooks that talks has a shelf talker. So maybe you've made little shelf talking cards where you write, I love this book because, and those are fabulous. But that's not technically talking in our words. We're being really absurdly literal, but it's kind of fun to be once in a while absurdly literal, I think. So what we did was we said any resource that talks. So if I go back to, let's say for fun, and I pick all of the video book trailers, and I go through which books of these teen books have video book trailers. So I know that all of these 2,241 titles have book trailers. So I can pick on one, and then I don't know what I clicked on, but Monster, excellent. So now I go there to that, and I'm going to pick this particular book trailer, and then I go to share, because this is an incredible book trailer, by the way. But anyway, you hit share, and then one of the options when you're on a resource that talks, a video, an audio recording, anything that talks at you will have a shelf talker. And then you click that, and now you have exactly what it said. But this was a book trailer. So instead of would you like to meet the author, it says want to watch a book trailer. And again, it can be translated just by going to the top of the screen and picking your language. So all of these are here for you to decorate, to have activities with, to just build relationships with books and authors. Everything we're doing has one goal: building relationships between the reader and the text. Every reader and whatever book they're reading, if it meets our collection development policy, which is basically trade books for pre-K through 12. Essentially. So that's the way to think about this. So for pretty much every book that you're familiar with, books that have won any award, all that, we have all of those materials for you. Another way to access this is to go through for professionals. When we go back to that, remember this link on the top, and you go to book promotion, it's going to ask you, what would you like to do? Are you looking for QR code shelf talkers? Did you want to put labels in your books? Did you want to promote the reading list for Indiana? What would you like? How do we help you? So it's another way to walk you through the functions that you're already doing in your library and expand that for you. So I'll show you our reading promotion widgets, which can make a huge difference. They're super fun and really easy for you to use. We have 2 widgets. So we can go here, and one is every day, there's 2 new books that come up. And there's also a literary calendar that you can use for programming and have reading connections with that. And we've provided the code. All you do is copy that code, and it will now show up on your webpage. You don't have to do anything else after that. It will just keep updating itself every single day. But let me show you what the literary calendar is. So literary calendar was saying, you might want to do programming in your library, and you might want to think about what do you want to recognize. You could be planning ahead, or it could just be you're thinking about today or next month or this week. So I can look at the month, and I can see what's happening this month. So this is September 2021, it says. And maybe I don't really feel like seeing all those birthdays. Let's focus just on what are the curricular things. So I can then scroll over one and see that this is National Library Card Sign-Up Month, or this is the start of Veggie and Fruits Month, or National Hispanic Heritage Month starts on the 18th, and so forth. So you have these things, we also have, did you know that Hobbit Day is coming up? So when you click on any of these, it's going to give you, not surprisingly, resources about whatever it is we're connecting you to. So for Hobbit Day, why don't you have a great audio performance of the Hobbit, and give everybody that, and put out the card. Or maybe you'll say, no, let's just give everyone this jigsaw puzzle game where they can just play a game about the book cover. Because for every book cover, we also not only have word searches, for every book, we also have puzzles. I'm really bad at this, so I'm going to do the 4-piece, but I know people that do the 64, but you'll get the idea. And to make this even more accessible, I can put this helps me. I know this is really pathetic, but I'm kind of pathetic, is I can put the image behind that, and then I can put these in, because we all have different abilities. And that's why we offer puzzles for 4 pieces. And that's why we offer the background and so forth. But now I did. It took me 19 seconds. That's, some people might say pathetic, but it's done. I feel good. And then we can also have everybody read it and share that resource. You can have this.
Of Bilbo Baggins, that is, was the fabulous Belladonna Took.
And then you can hit share. And because this talks, guess what you have? What Alyssa said, a shelf talker. Or you can text that to someone. So I could just text them that resource and it would be on their phone within a second. It's really easy. Yeah, someone just raised their hand. That's cool. Deborah, please. I don't know how this works. Did you have a question? I don't know. I swear I just saw someone named Deborah raise her hand, but I don't know how it works. So anyway, you see how this kind of builds on top. So the last things I wanted to show you a little bit of was, one, a teaser for our next session. Our next session, we're going to be focusing on what's called our Diverse Books Toolkit. And I want all of you to know that there's a lot of support here for a few things around diversity and inclusion of your collection in relation to your community. First off is, how do you learn about and identify which books are already out there, thanks to things like We Need Diverse Books, which is encouraging the publication of more and more diverse books. But how do you know what's out there that matches your needs? So there's tools here to guide you through that. You can search by a culture. To say, I'm just looking for books. I'm thinking about our transgender non-conforming kids. I want to maybe search by a subject, or I want to just find diverse books that meet a specific thing. I'm looking for American Indian, and I'm looking for American Indian for high school, and I want it to be nonfiction. What do you have, right? So it can really help you hone in and identify those texts. The other thing that's part of the Diverse Books Toolkit is helping you not just learn, but think deeper about that. So TeachingBooks has actually interviewed the authors of these 7,000 what are diverse titles, multicultural titles, so the author can be there as a primary source. Instead of me as a middle-aged white male from New York City talking about the experiences of Jacqueline Woodson's childhood in the South, why not have Jacqueline Woodson there talking about it, right? Or why would I not have John Lewis talking about his experiences of marching across the Selma Bridge as opposed to me? So we have John Lewis doing that and so forth. So all of these are all here. These connections, these are primary source materials that we want to empower you to feel better about having conversations about culture and about experiences that are discussed in the book. So have the author there to do that. So that's a major part of what we're doing with our Diverse Books Toolkit. We also have built cultural representation activities. So if you wanted an activity to guide people through that, and then we have the ability for you to actually analyze your collections. And I'll give you a quick taste of that by going back to maybe one of your Indiana lists. So let's take a look at, I don't know, what's a large one with more books? Here's the, let's just do the Rosewater. That was a good, or Hoosier. Here's Hoosier 4 to 6. So this is 20 titles, if I recall. Yeah, it's 20 books. So when you're thinking about building your lists and building your collections, you want to build a display. And you want to have a way to look at that in a way you might not have looked at it before. Data can be really useful. And this is what we're going to cover in the next session. But for every list, there's something called a list analysis report. Every time you build a list, you can build your own or you can look at one. I can analyze it. So when I analyze it, what it's going to show me is some data about it. There were 20 titles. There are 11 genres. There's 5 cultural areas. There's 80% fiction, 20% nonfiction. You get to decide what you're after, but we're giving you information. What's the word count? What's the lexile level? What's the page count? So then I can go through this and I can see the recency. So in this case, this particular award list is very recent, obviously, right? So we have 16 of the books are 2019. And you can go through and see what books are part of different cultural areas. And you can see what books are part of different genres. You can say, this is really great. There's 6 books that are humor. The entire intention of this list is to get kids to smile, feel great, right? So then you'd feel like, great, I'm doing terrifically. Maybe you say, you know what though? I really wanted more social studies. So then you could add more social studies. So then you see what's there. You also see what's not there. You can say, oh my gosh, we're really focused this year on Indian education for all. I want a book by and about our indigenous population always. So then you'd go and you'd search, you'd add an Indian title. You click that, it will take you to our American Indian collection. You then can add a book, put it into your list and so forth. So that's what we're going to cover. And that's called our Diverse Books Toolkit. And that's again under for professionals. And you can then go through that because you are professionals. We are giving you information to help you do your job as well and deeply as possible. Questions before I move into reader's advisory, professional exploration, and then just some time for anything else, but I always want to make sure I don't lose you all. I have not been looking at the chat. Is this available on any list? Yes. So any single list. So I made a few lists earlier. So I can go here to the reading lists I made, and I can look at the preschool award-winning biographies with book trailers. And now I want to, because whatever your needs are, and then you can say, let's take a look at it. Did it actually meet my needs? Maybe you just picked all your favorite books, but that comes with biases about what you know, what you've been thinking about, what you've seen. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just giving you tools to keep growing, to keep expanding your relationship with the books you need and want for your community. So you click on List Analysis Report, and Book Connections has that report for all of that. So here you get all of those materials, right? Recency, cultural experiences, genres, curriculum area, what's not included. Holy smokes, we don't have any romance books. We need romance in all of our collections, of course, or whatever it would be. I don't even remember what this list was for. What's the average lexile? How's that lexile play out in a crosswalk? What's our quantitative measures? There's so much here, but I just wanted you to know that that list exists. So, how much of the site is accessible to people outside of Indiana? The site is available to everybody anywhere. You just have to be signed in. Indiana has provided this resource for you equally for everybody in the state of Indiana, but we're in other states and we're in other communities. So there are school districts, you know, like we work with Chicago Public Schools, but not the State Library of Illinois at this moment. We're in 60,000 schools and libraries distributing millions of resources a month. So hopefully
and we have the new basic license.
Yeah, there's a free version for anybody as well. Mm-hmm. Correct. We made a free version because access and equity is imperative. So anybody can come in and use the site and get 4 resources a month, but they can, all of our metadata is always freely available. All the lists and displays and all that, always there for people. But all the sharing tools, everything I've shown you is part of what the Indiana State Library has licensed for you, for every library in the state. So I want to touch on a little bit, 2 things. I want to show you Reader's Advisory because I think that's important as well. There is a Reader's Advisory component here. You can search for a book that, you know, you really love, Harry Potter. But what I think makes our reader's advisory a little different, because it's not novelist, which is so fabulous. And
Hey, Nick,
they, yeah.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we've got 5 minutes left and someone's asked a great question about how to log in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to cover. This
Oh, I'm so sorry.
10
Okay.
seconds. Thank you. So I just want to show you that a reader's advisory is going to be really important to you, because I wanted you to see that it's not, there are no keywords that because we've read the book. We haven't read the books. What we're doing is giving you data points to choose from. Maybe you loved Harry Potter. We're not making any assumptions about why you liked Harry Potter. Maybe you liked it because it's about school fiction. I love books about schools. So then you can go there, or it's got authors or other books in the series and so forth. So whenever you're on a single title, you can see the reader's advisory. It's called Discover Like Books. But all that is part of that. And that's something I think you're asked a lot about. I wanted to make sure you saw that. So to summarize, I want to make sure you're set up properly. So if your library right now does not have on it the set, if you go there and you don't see book connections links, then we have tools to help you do that. And so you go to a link here, and it's called bookconnections.org/IN setup. If you want to put that into the chat, bookconnections.org/IN setup. And then you can go through this and you can see what library I'm in, Noblesville. So I can go through here and see Noble County Public Library. And then I can make sure once you fill this out, we will then reach out to you and give you all the access. So you're set up with all the details for setting up the pages just right. So all of that is set. That's one way to make sure we are working with you. So that link that Alyssa just put in, bookconnections.org/IN setup. Also within that is the ability, we will send you this also when you're set up, but if you explore your license, you'll see here that there's actually code to help you set this up for everybody. All of that is there. So Book Connections is already accessible for everybody in the state. There is no direct sign-in that's needed just to use it. It's got geofencing, but if you can set it up within your school and library and university and so forth, that's all part of the license. And all you have to do is tell us and we'll work with you to do that. To sign in though, you just go to the link that we began with. So we'll end where we began at teachingbooks.net/inspire. I'm sorry, bookconnections.org/inspire. And then you can just sign in and we'll put you right into that account. You'll have your own account to make your lists, to share, to print the flyers and everything else. And if you ever have any questions, we are always here. You can email us, you can call us. On every page of our site, we have our access to our contact information. You can either drop the little hamburger menu down to contact us, or you can go to the footer where all of our information is there as well, where you can contact us, call us, email us, and so forth. So again, every single thing here is available to everyone in the state of Indiana. All the training, all the support, all the access, everything that we can do to help you. But we wanted you to know that Book Connections has been added to your Inspire collection, and you can access it also from inspire.in.gov, and you can access it among your databases by searching for it or even just going to the bottom of the page. How did we do? Comments, questions?
I've dropped a link also for your TLEUs for this session if you need into the chat.
Oh, so again, you might want to put that again because they'll want that, find that. So there's a LEU opportunity for everybody coming, and Alyssa will drop that back into the chat somewhere along the way. It's just up there now. But again, I really hope this was useful for you to learn about the depth of what is being provided to you here. We're really honored to work with you. Our emails, Alyssa's and my email, our phone number is there, the link is there. And what we want to do is help deepen and enrich every literacy connection in your community if you'd like, and it's all there for you. Anything else, anybody? We're big on getting you out on time, but we really hope that this was, I know there was a lot there. Nothing's better than diving in and reaching out. So one thing that's really important that I forgot to say before we end is I want to thank everyone that helped put this together. Kara and Lisa and Beth at the State Library in particular, the ones that worked the most with us to make sure we were set up to help you, to make this as accessible for you. Every single event takes so much work for all of us. And I want to thank the folks at the Indiana State Library for all their efforts to try to get the word out. And we're happy to do whatever we can throughout your state to share and let the word be known that these resources are there for everybody. Thank you.